Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna show you this article I found here in the Korean forum. It's about the first engineer to achieve 7 million CP. Her name is Myeonse, and this article also shows the top 30 players in house servers. And they also make a percentage of the ones that people have more or less. So it's very interesting. And also in the end, we can see the build of this engineer, what kind of build she's using. So let's check it out. So I think I did some months ago. She was the first one, right? Darius. Actually, she was in my server, but she transferred to another one, Ignis, another server. In my server, we only have these two. Is the server I'm playing now. These two is Swordsman. In the end of this video, together with the engineer, I will analyze their builds also. So here's the engineer. Not many engineers actually. The top 30, but this is house servers of course. And they analyze the top 50 in each server and they make this percentage here. The best ones. So the biggest majority is Swordsman actually. And Witch. Swordsman and Witch. Peculiar. And the only one engineer. So we can see the percentage. This is again, it's like not only, you see here is Swordsman, it's like 20%, but if you look just top 30, it's a lot actually. In the top 10, we have like 6 is Swordsman. But in general, majority players are Witch, Rock and Swordsman. Engineer a little less and Destroy a little less also. So here's introduced the article about the combat power that increase. And this engineer, they said that she grows a lot. For example, before she was 15th place. So last week she was 6.7 millions of CP, and then she got 7.2 millions of CP. She got 500,000 of CP is like 1 week. And here is the power of kingdoms. My server, I think this one, Ignis, they were in my server but they transfer. I think in my server this everybody run away. Oh here, this one is for my server. So here is just analysis of the kingdoms of each server. So this is this strongest engineer in house servers in Korea. Myeonse, her name. Now I can read better. And from what I can see at first, just looking at it, I can see that's a PvP build. Exclusively because of this orb. So just to introduce a little bit about this orb, they put it recently here in this medal shop. You can buy this one that increase your critical chance against players, so that's very good. And this one is the one that Myeonse is using. Reduce the damage from players in 2%, so it's very specific for PvP. And you buy with these coins we got on PvP. Of course, you have to get Diamond 3 rank on Lava Valley to get the one that increase your attack, and the one defense is the Sky Island. So I'm very curious how they launch on global this. So that's why I concluded this is a PvP build. So we can see that she's using Earth type and the combination of Chronos and Decimation. So that's basically almost everybody use this combination. We don't have a Milky Way. If he's in global, for example, it'll be a Milky Way and a Chronos for sure. And here very standard are equipments. Whale for sure. One thing is very peculiar, they use a lot the Cyclet. You see everything is rare one, but they always use the Cyclet. Maybe the death increase helps a lot in some degree. So this one increase your earth attack. This one drops from the Stelia field boss. So that's very good. It decrease your enemy defense. It's quite good. And this one I think we don't have yet on global. So she's using this necklace, Shining Custody, they call it. So it increases your critical chance on targets affected by corrupted status in 2.5%. This is just 0, right? But if you have it higher, it can be like 5% of chance, critical chance. So it's quite good necklace. And it drops from Kalia Phantom. It's a new field boss. This one. So it's from the new region. So once they launch the new region, they have this necklace also launched with this field boss. So here the combination of the familiars. I think the main one is the Cactus, Auroralynx, and Relixx is a very common combination. And this is basically many combinations they use these familiars for Familiar Arena, for PvP. So it's kind of essential familiars in long term. At least for the meta now in the game. So here is just showing her gemstones. Majority is evasion and critical, of course, and also damage to the Joker is damage to earth damage. So they are introducing this engineer. It's the first time I appear an engineer with this combat power. So it's just showing that she used the wooden weapon infinite and anti-stone statue core is the Joker. So Natrum earring, the one that gives more earth damage. So she's not using Natrum earrings. So she's using these familiars, Cactus, Auroralynx, and the Relixx. So they use because majority is because the strong passive. That's similar to Kona. So how three of them increase the attack according to the other familiars. So it's very good. So this is like Kona. So she could have even Kona here in this team. That might work very good also in some degree. So they speculate that she uses the Auroralynx and the stun, and also because of the stun these Auroralynx can do and the corrupt effect. So that's why this combination. Considering that this is a PvP build, of course. So briefly I'll show you guys these three familiars. So the first one is Cactus. I'm not sure how they call on the global server. Normally Japanese and the global have different names. What they say here at first look is a good choice in how attack build for PvP, as it can prevent enemy players from dodge rolling and using HP portions for a brief of time. That's very good. Many times people can use this dodge rolling to escape from skills, and this familiar appear only once during episode event. Searching of the legendary fish is the fishing event that came just after the cooking event, but I don't think it will come now because my bet is that it will come the Halloween because it's in next month. So just showing the status, it boosts your both damage and critical rate, your passive, similar to Kona, the same. For each attack familiar in your build, boost the health damage by 1%. And for 10 seconds after defeating an enemy, boost critical rate by 1%, stacked 3 times. So imagine in the Awakened 10, stacked 3 times 5%, so it's like 15% more. That's why that engineer was using so many jokers for critical damage. And active skill, this is very interesting one also. Deal several hits damage, does more damage if your enemies are poisoned. Cause enemy to trip is like fall, and prevent enemies to dodge rolling or using HP portions. HP portions is useless on Lava Valley. You cannot use it anyway, but on Relic Wars and the Fight for the Throne it can be very useful. So what they do? So does multiple hits of earth damage and increase your damage by 15% in poison enemies. So for 1.5% enemies tripped is like fall. And for 4 seconds the enemies cannot dodge roll using potions. It's very good. So this build works very well also with a poison build. So you can increase your damage against enemies with poison status. So briefly shows in the arena. They use a lot actually. So briefly nullifies damage and the damage nearby enemies and poisons them. So for 1 second it nullifies damage. And they use multiple hits to nearby enemies. Each hit does 60% of earth damage. And for 5 seconds enemies are poisoned. That's very good combination, guys. So in general is our earth attacker that works best in the attack build. They say they have a good synergy with Ouroboros because Ouroboros can inflict poison. in order to increase damage, and the debuff trip, that's the fall, is quite useful for preventing enemies attacks. So this is showing like what can be good for PvE and bosses, but for PvP it's very strong attack build and prevent enemy players for 2 major damage mitigations, dodge roll and HP portion, making them fall, also briefly prevent them from taking action. Give some time, that's good. And the arena can briefly negate damage, like 1 second, right? Yeah, 1 second. So it gives some survivability. So the attack itself is not very strong, but they do many attacks. So that can have a very good area control. So that's good. Also the poison helps. So that's why Cactus is very present in the familiar arena. They use a lot also in PvP as a secondary familiar. So many players ask me about Relixx. Relixx was launched the first week of October, just before the Halloween event, so make sure to save your tickets, guys. Because Relixx is one of the best familiars actually. And the stronger dark attacker, good debuffs and briefly disrupt. Disrupt is the corrupt effect. That's why that engineer was using that necklace from Kalia Phantom. So the active skills is like it hits dark damage to nearby enemies, and if it's blind and blind, increase damage to enemies with erosion debuff. That's the corruption. For each attack type familiar in your party, increase damage by a small percentage, the same as Cactus and Kona. And on Adventure, multiple small hits of dark damage to nearby enemies. So inflict silence inflicts a debuff that increases the dark damage taken by a moderate percentage. So sometimes they put together Relixx and the Auroralynx, because both can deal dark damage, so very strong team. And the Relixx attack from far in the family arena. So for PvE is a strong attacker with 2 solid debuffs and synergizes well with Dinoceros that also have the same effect. And a solid attack, especially attack focused build. And the blind debuff reduces the viewpoint of enemy briefly, and it can be quite good way to beat the enemies. And here they say to synergy with Sling. Sling is the Auroralynx. You can see here, Auroralynx. She synergizes very well with Relixx, and is a solid attacker, and they use a lot. Almost every top player in the top 100 have one Relixx there. So Auroralynx is a very important familiar also. And the strong attackers will works best with attack focused path. So for example, if you think now global situation, you'll be Relixx and the Kona, for example, or even Pufu can be good partners with Auroralynx. So one thing that's very important to point out, that this familiar was introduced the Evermore's Nightmare, that's the Halloween event, and on Korea 7 it was 28th of October. So just after Relixx banner they launched this. Netmarble is very famous for that. They launched one essential familiar and then just after another one very close, so it is forcing people to spend money on the game. So that's why it's very essential for you guys to save your diamonds or tickets for it if you wanna get him. Auroralynx. So before was very limited to this event, but then it will be available in the normal banner, but not egg hatching. But very recently, like some months ago, it was in the normal banner. So what this cat do? Multiple small hits of light damage and briefly stuns enemy. And boost damage against enemies with flash debuff and by a small percentage. And also does a massive damage on dungeons of episode 3. So it's the same as Pufu, Kona, the same effects. And for each attack type familiar in the party, boost damage by a small percentage. Same as Kona and the Relixx. And multiple small hits of light to nearby enemies and briefly stun enemies. This is very good on the familiar arena. And inflicts flash debuff. So the use of this Auroralynx, solid attacker that works best with a full lineup of attackers. They say for PvE Sparky can be good, this one. Maybe because of the flash, yeah, because of the flash effect. Worker Bumper they say is also can be a good. If you have this one level up, can be a good partner. for PV. So PvP inflicts stun, and stun is one of the most powerful debuff against players. So that helps a lot. And the adventure and the arena is because group debuffs. So I feel like this one is very good also for arena and PvP. So that's why this player use this build. So you see everything having some communication. This one, Earth type, these two, very good. Everybody increase the attack. So that's why it's very well made. So just as an extra, I show you guys, since I have access to it, I show you guys these two Swordsmen here. Briefly show their builds. So you see, both of them, they are at the top. So let's check this one. So from what I see here, he's using his for sure he's grinding monsters because he increased the XP here, and he's using this combination of dark. You see, Dinoceros they use normally with Relixx in the PvE context. That's why this one critical. We don't have Milky Way, but this one they use here, dark. So that's the combination. This is the Stelia ring. So that's the combination he's using. In his case, he prefers to use this one. You see, it's not a secret. But to get this awakened thing, oh my god. He spent a lot of money, guys. So you see, this build with this witch. He's using the same combination, guys.
Whoa, that's amazing.
With his destroyer the same. Just so you guys have a reference. So this is the second place.
Thank you.
You see the combination. In this case with Kona. Works very good also. And I think he's doing the same. He's using the light build. And this one to increase the XP. So that's the combination he did. Chronos. This one to increase. So they always normally put the fire one because of the passive. That's very good. And in this case he used the Cyclet, not that other helmet. So I think that's it. That's the analysis of the builds on the Korean server. Some ideas of combination familiars. And also what to invest in the future. Also some reference. That's gonna come. October we'll know if Relixx will come to global or not. Let's see when the cooking event finish, if they try to squeeze some episodes between Halloween or the cooking event, or if they will go just straight to Halloween, because this will be very decisive to what familiars we should invest or not. Because if they put just after the cooking event, they put this fishing event, this will be the fishing event. And it will be very complicated for us. Because it will be 3 essential familiars basically, one after another one. But let's see, I'm very curious how they do on global actually, because they change how they schedule. So I think that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you on the next video.